Supposed to be. I have heard yesterday, basically, when one of the Gaboim announced there will be adlaka today, there will be a bonfire. Well, let's be bold. There's no bonfire going on here. This adlaka, the cover of Shimbo Yochai. So to explain what adlaka all about is, a few words will explain the significance of what adlaka is all about and why this is much different than what we know, what we think we know. As we know, the first time it's brought that there was a Bavadi Baltanura. He lived about 600 years ago, and there's a parish in the Mishnayos. You know Baltanura? And they recently, about a few years ago, they found this cave in Harazais. He writes that when he went to Eretz Yisrael, he wrote a daily diary where he went and what he saw. And he writes over there that the day of Lag BaOmer, of the Yotzev Shemba Yechoy, he went next to Miron, and there was a lot of vukas of Esh, a lot of, like Havdolas, vukas of Esh, putting on in the honor of Shemba Yechoy. We all know that in the Yortzeit, we put on a candle, right? The Yortzeit, known as the Yortzeit candle. And no one sits there and dances by the Yortzeit of a candle. But I'm going to dance in front of a candle that I put on the Yortzeit? It's a Yortzeit, it's a candle. Why we put on a candle? It says, Ner Hashem Nishmas Adam. The soul of a person, when it departs its body, it goes into a fire. Hashem is a fire. It's sort of a fire. And the candle reaches the Shechina HaKdosha. It goes up higher and reaches. That's why Ner Hashem Nishmas Adam. Hashem's candle is the neshama of the person, which he gets the way he gets connected to Hashem. And every year he gets higher and higher and higher, and can do much more for the people who put a candle for him. That is known for my great-grandfather, Nachum Rimanov. He said before he departed this world, that in this world I do so much. I can do anything, whatever I want. He was a big Poel Yeshuas, and he did a lot of miracles, and he shook all the trees, he said. I shook all the trees. But when I would depart from this world, I'll be happy for someone who puts on a candle for me. So here we are, and now, since the Yortzeit from my great-grandfather Nachum from Rabbi Yosef from Rimanov, I think thousands of candles are being lit each every day on his merit. And so many people had seen Yeshua's. And he promised before he would depart from the world, whoever would put a candle for his memory, he will do anything to do him a favor and help him what he needs. His Yortzeit is tomorrow night, the day after Lag BaOmer, known Lamed Al BaOmer, which was a very big yontif for Chassidim who pulled in Lag BaOmer into Lamed Dalet. 2 days of festive and from Simcha. Reb Shimba Yochai was a big neshama. He was the neshama of Klal Yisrael. A neshama which inherited himself. He was the whole Kabbalah, the whole Seides HaTorah was revealed by him. It said the Riyah Kodesh that Moshe Rabbeinu was again reconnorated, was kept in the Gilgal into Reb Shimba Yochai, and then with the same way he brought down the Torah, and he was Torah's Moshe Benigla. He came bring down the Zohar Kodesh, which was the Kabbalah in the Torah Sanistar. So now that's the custom that we put on a much more than a candle, but a vikashal esh, something a little bit more significant, a little bit more fire, a fire that includes all of us together. And that's why it was custom that everybody takes part in pouring some oil once the fire is lit, and asks for Hashem in the merit, the schis of Shemba Yochai, we should find our all what we need, Zivigim, Shedichim, Panose, health, Amen. And everything what you need Amen. Is the time by that look. It said over there, the Rabbi Yatanir says 600 years ago, that the Avuka on the time from Shemba Yochai was sold to the highest bidder. For the money was going to tzedakah, for the people are sitting and learning, And it was a very big bid. Everyone was bidding to have the schus for that locker. Because obviously, if you're going to put something for Abba Shimba Yochai, you want to do with that schus, with tzedakah. And this tradition is going on 600 years. It's going on in Miron, which was put on an adloke, and the adloke was for Shimba Yochai, which was auctioned up, and for the merit to people who used to take all what they had just to be able to buy on that moment that adloke. 19 years ago, when I just took to on my shoulders to listen to Klal Yisrael. It was my first year, which we have the community, the Besmedrish, and I felt my shoulders are not so, it's a weak shoulders. So many tzaras in Klal Yisrael, so many problems, so many things they need, and such as thin shoulders, I can't carry so much. And I felt that I wanted to bring that adloke, the kedusha from Shimba Yochai from Iran, and plant it in the streets of America. As they say in some of the Sfarim, there was a lot of diaries written in the course of 600 years till that date, how that adloke looked, people observed how that adloke looked. Reb Shimba Yochai. We say, we'll soon sing it. V'amartem kol Yochai. We said Reb Shimba Yochai tears it Tveria. He made Tveria clean the streets. He was able, with his koich of kedusha, to clean the streets of Tveria. The Gemara says he took out all the mesim, so we'll be for Tibis Kahanan to be able to walk. But he also he immediately cleaned the Rochnias. He cleaned the streets from all the Zahama, from all the bad influence, from all the unsneeristic thing. But since everything comes from fire, the Eish Sahara, and the fire from the Sahara he cleaned with the fire of Shimba Yochai. He cleaned the fire. And that's why they put out big adloke in, same thing in Miran, to clean the streets. And about 200 years ago, they started adloke of Rabbi Kiva, the Rebbe of Rabbi Shimba Yochai, and which brought together Tveria till Miran. The whole Galil was brought together. The whole Galilee was brought together in one big fire to clean the street, to clean the whole Galilee with Kedusha. Since the streets are all over the United States, it's a new country. The United States, it's Eretz Lo Zerua. We had very little Gedolei Yisrael here prior to the war, and they were not successful to build up Yiddishkeit. Only after became the war, and after the war, after the survivors of Europe came to the United States, we started putting more Moises HaTorah education, Moises HaChinuch. We started developing shuls and shtiblach, and what you see today is what they planted, the fruit that they planted. It's time to clean the streets of the United States, and I took upon myself to put the first adloka on 19 years ago. In my own backyard, just like this. And from that moment, I saw so many Yeshus from Yidden who came to Adloke and participated in Adloke and bought some oil and bought some candles. Miracles that I couldn't perform, only after the Schus of Shimba Yochai. And I was happy that I introduced this minhag, and today, all across the world, in Monroe, there's about 20,000 people by Adloke and Sap. He started about 10 years ago. And all across the world, the adlock is going outside Miran. I started at the Baruch Hashem, this should be my schus. Today I'm here with you, and we're going to start. I'm going to have something to sell the adlock, which is the custom, to bid for the adlock. That's the kedusha, to bid for the adlock, and there you will merit to see the yeshiyas that you have to see with the adlock. And everyone will be able to participate a little bit later. We're going to give some candles to put on. But we're going to start from Shimba Yochai, and then from Elizabeth Shimon, the son of Shimba Yochai, Elizabeth Shimon, who's also bad if you wore every time Miran, right next to him. So it will be one from Shimba Yochai, and one from Elizabeth Shimon. And I just saw you bought us another one here, a small one, a big one. So we're going to have that for Nachum Mendel from Rimanov, who promised he will do a favor for everybody who puts a candle for him. So we will start now with the auction, and we'll start off.
Okay, we'll start off with $360. Who has the skills to buy the vodka for Shimon and for Blosa for Shimon? Okay, so who's bidding? Starting off with $360. Who will be the